It's March 21st, 1918, 4:40 a.m., Saint-Quentin, France. British 5th Army positions along a 50-mile front. Fog so thick you can't see 10 yards. Then the world explodes. 6,000 German artillery pieces open fire simultaneously. Not a barrage, a hurricane. In 5 hours, they fire more shells than the British fired in the entire first week of the Somme. Over 1 million rounds. The earth doesn't just shake, it liquefies. British positions vanish. Communications trenches collapse. Telephone lines shred. Command posts cave in. Soldiers huddle in dugouts, bleeding from their ears, unable to hear their own screams. Then it stops. 9:40 a.m. The fog hasn't lifted. British officers stagger out of their bunkers, trying to re-establish control, expecting the standard German attack. Waves of infantry marching toward their trenches in neat lines. Easy targets for machine guns. That's how it's worked for 4 years. But something's different. German soldiers are already inside British positions, not marching in lines, not waiting for orders, moving in small groups, 8 to 12 men, threading through gaps in the defenses like water-finding cracks. They bypass British strongpoints entirely. They don't stop to fight. They keep moving, deeper and deeper into British territory. By 10 a.m., some German units are 3 miles behind British front lines. British commanders have no idea where the enemy is. Their defensive doctrine, hold every inch of ground, defend every position, is collapsing. By day's end, the Germans advance 10 miles. 10 miles. On the Western Front, where gains were measured in yards over months of fighting, the Germans just shattered 4 years of stalemate in 14 hours. This isn't a miracle. This is the Stoßtruppen, German stormtroopers, using tactics so radical they violate every principle of military command that's existed since Napoleon. And they're about to push the British Army to the brink of collapse. The question everyone's asking: how did the Germans break the deadlock when every previous offensive, British, French, American, had failed? The answer isn't more artillery. It's not better tanks or poison gas. It's something far more dangerous. Soldiers trained to think for themselves and act without orders. Real quick before we dive in, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. What city? What state? What country? And hey, what time is it where you are? Always cool to see how global this audience is. All right, let's get into it. For 4 years, every army on the Western Front follows the same playbook. Commanders plan offensives months in advance. Artillery bombards enemy trenches for days, sometimes weeks. Then infantry attacks in waves, following strict timetables. Officers lead from the front. Soldiers follow orders. Stay in formation. Advance to the next objective. Wait for new orders. Repeat. It doesn't work. The Somme, 1916. British forces gained 6 miles in 4 months. Cost, 420,000 casualties. Verdun, 1916. French and Germans slaughter each other for 10 months over a 6-mile salient. Combined casualties, 700,000. Passchendaele, 1917. British advance 5 miles in 3 months through mud so deep it swallows men whole. 275,000 casualties. The math is simple and brutal. Machine guns fire 450 rounds per minute. Barbed wire stretches 30 yards deep. Concrete bunkers survive artillery bombardments. Defenders have every advantage. Attackers die in the open. The Western Front isn't a stalemate because nobody's trying to break it. It's a stalemate because the tactical doctrine guarantees failure. Here's the core problem: centralized command. Every decision flows from the top down. A platoon encounters unexpected resistance. They stop and wait for orders. An opportunity opens up on the flank. Doesn't matter. Stick to the plan. Enemy strong point blocking the advance. Everybody attacks it head-on because that's the objective on the map. Flexibility doesn't exist. Initiative is discouraged. Soldiers are pawns, not thinkers. The British learned this the hard way at Cambrai in November 1917. They attack with 476 tanks, the largest tank assault in history. First day, breakthrough. They advance 5 miles, capture 7,500 German prisoners, lose only 4,000 men. It's a stunning success. Then they stop. British commanders wait for fresh orders, consolidate positions, follow the plan. The Germans don't stop. They counterattack within 10 days, using new tactics the British have never seen before. Small units, bypassing strong points, infiltration. By December, the Germans retake everything the British won, and then some. The British don't understand what hit them. Neither do the French. These aren't the Germans they've been fighting since 1914. These are Stoßtruppen, Stormtroopers, and they're operating under a completely different tactical philosophy. The Germans figured out something revolutionary. The side that can make decisions faster wins, not the side with more artillery, not the side with better defensive positions, the side that adapts in real time while the enemy waits for orders. Traditional command structure creates a fatal delay. Soldier sees opportunity, reports to sergeant, sergeant reports to lieutenant, lieutenant reports to captain, captain reports to battalion commander. Battalion commander makes decision. Order travels back down the chain. By the time soldiers get permission to act, the opportunity's gone. The Germans eliminate that delay entirely. They train soldiers to make tactical decisions on their own. No orders required. See a gap in enemy lines? Exploit it. Encounter heavy resistance? Bypass it. Find yourself behind enemy lines? Keep pushing deeper. The objective isn't to hold ground, it's to create chaos, destroy command and control, force the enemy to collapse from the inside out. British and French generals think this is impossible. Soldiers can't be trusted with that kind of autonomy. They'll panic. They'll retreat. They'll make stupid decisions. Without officers giving orders, infantry becomes a disorganized mob. The Germans prove them catastrophically wrong. The architect behind this revolution is Captain Willy Rohr, not a general, not a staff officer, a company commander who's been in the trenches since 1914 and watched thousands of men die following outdated tactics. In March 1915, Rohr gets permission to experiment. The German High Command gives him a single assault detachment, Sturmabteilung, to test new methods. They want results, not theories. Rohr delivers both. He starts by throwing out everything. No more waves of infantry, no more rigid formations, no more waiting for orders. Instead, he creates 8-man squads built around a single principle: independent action. Each squad has a squad leader, riflemen, grenadiers with bags of stick grenades, and, critically, soldiers trained in multiple roles. If the squad leader dies, someone else takes over immediately. No pause, no confusion. Rohr arms them differently too. Forget the standard-issue Gewehr 98 rifle. Too long, too slow for close combat. Stormtroopers carry Mauser C96 pistols, MP-18 submachine guns that fire 500 rounds per minute, flamethrowers, satchel charges, and hundreds of Model 24 stick grenades, the iconic potato masher. Weight doesn't matter, speed does. A stormtrooper squad can move through trenches 3 times faster than conventional infantry. But the weapons aren't the breakthrough. The training is. Rohr creates a school, the Assault Battalion Training Ground at Bouville, France. Every stormtrooper spends weeks learning something the German army has never taught before: how to think tactically without officers. They practice on mock battlefields with real trenches, barbed wire, pillboxes. The scenarios change constantly. No 2 exercises are identical. The point isn't to memorize a procedure, it's to develop tactical judgment. Here's what they learn. Infiltration. Don't attack the enemy's strongest point. Find the gaps. British and French defenses aren't uniform. There are always weak spots where trenches are undermanned, where fields of fire don't overlap, where strong points can't support each other. Stormtroopers are trained to identify these gaps instantly and exploit them without waiting for permission. The tactical doctrine is called Hutier tactics, named after General Oskar von Hutier. though Rohr develops most of the actual methods. 3 core principles. 1. Bypass resistance. If you hit a machine gun nest or a fortified position, don't attack it. Go around it. Let follow-up infantry deal with it. Your job is to keep moving, penetrate as deep as possible, disrupt enemy command and control. 2. Move in small groups, 8 to 12 men. Spread out. Use terrain for cover, never bunch up. If one squad gets pinned down, the others keep advancing. You're not a wave. You're a flood finding every crack in the dam. 3. Act without orders. This is the radical part. Squad leaders make decisions in real time based on what they see, not what's on a map back at headquarters. The objective is general: advance east, disrupt enemy positions. But how you accomplish it is up to you. Encounter opportunity? Exploit it. Encounter danger? Avoid it. No radio back to command. No waiting for approval. Just move. The German High Command is skeptical. General Ludendorff thinks it might work in small raids, but doubts it can scale to army-level offensives. Too chaotic. Too risky. What if Stormtroopers get lost? What if they advance too far and get cut off? What if they ignore objectives? Rohr proves the concept at Verdun in 1916. His stormtrooper detachment captures Fort Douaumont, the strongest fortress in the French defensive system, with 10 men. 10. The fort has a garrison of 57 soldiers. The stormtroopers infiltrate through an unguarded embrasure, throw grenades into crew quarters, and capture the entire position in 15 minutes without firing a shot. When French reinforcements arrive hours later, they find German flags flying over the fort and have no idea how it fell. By 1917, Germany has 50 stormtrooper battalions. By early 1918, 70 battalions totaling over 100,000 men. Every division on the Western Front has at least one stormtrooper unit. They're the spearhead. Conventional infantry follows behind to consolidate gains. But the stormtroopers break the line first. Now Germany faces a critical decision. The war is going badly. Russia's out, signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk in March 1918, but American troops are pouring into France. 250,000 per month. Germany has maybe 6 months before the numerical advantage swings permanently against them. Ludendorff decides to bet everything on one massive offensive using stormtrooper tactics. Operation Michael. The goal: smash through British lines, separate British forces from French forces, push the British into the English Channel, force a negotiated peace before America's full strength arrives. It all comes down to March 21st, 1918. And it almost works. March 21st, 1918. 9:40 a.m. The artillery barrage lifts. German stormtroopers move out through fog so thick British defenders can't see them until they're 20 yards away. The attack hits 3 British armies across a 50-mile front. British Fifth Army under General Hubert Gough. 14 divisions holding territory the French handed over just 3 months ago. They don't know the ground. Their trenches are incomplete. Their defenses are thin. They're about to get shattered. The stormtroopers don't advance in lines. They move in small groups, weaving through shell craters, following valleys and gullies, staying low. British machine gunners open fire on empty ground. The Germans are already past them, 200 yards deeper, moving toward British artillery positions and command posts. British defensive doctrine says, hold every position, defend every strong point. So British soldiers stay in their trenches and fight isolated battles, while German stormtroopers flow around them like water. A British platoon holds a fortified position for 6 hours, repels 3 attacks, thinks they're winning. They don't realize 2,000 German soldiers have already bypassed them and are now 5 miles behind British lines, cutting communications, capturing supply depots, killing officers in their headquarters. By noon, British command and control is disintegrating. Telephone lines are cut. Runners can't get through. They're getting captured or killed trying to cross ground already occupied by Germans. Brigade commanders have no idea where their battalions are. Battalion commanders can't contact their companies. The British defensive system depends on coordination between strongpoints providing mutual support. That coordination no longer exists. Sergeant Walter Schreiber, a Stormtrooper squad leader in the 18th Division, keeps a diary. March 21st entry. We advanced 12 kilometers by 1500 hours, encountered British machine gun post at Crossroads, bypassed on the left through Orchard. British never saw us. At 15:30 captured British field kitchen. Still hot. 18 prisoners, no resistance. Kept moving, no orders. Objective? Keep going east until we hit something we can't bypass. That's not an exception. That's the doctrine playing out exactly as designed. The German advance doesn't stop when they achieve their initial objectives. There are no initial objectives, not in the traditional sense. The orders are simple. Penetrate as deep as possible, create chaos, destroy enemy ability to resist. When a stormtrooper unit runs into heavy resistance, they don't attack it. They radio back coordinates and keep moving. Follow-up infantry and artillery deal with British strongpoints hours later. The British can't adapt. They're trained for linear warfare. Hold the line, defend positions, wait for orders. German tactics create a three-dimensional battlefield where the line doesn't exist anymore. British units find themselves surrounded without knowing how it happened. By evening of March 21st, entire British battalions are isolated, out of ammunition, cut off from supply lines, surrendering to German units that appeared behind them without warning. The breakthrough is catastrophic. In 3 days, the Germans advance 40 miles, further than any offensive since 1914. They capture 90,000 British prisoners and 1,300 artillery pieces. The British Fifth Army effectively ceases to exist as a coherent fighting force. On March 23rd, General Gough issues orders to retreat. Not to new defensive positions, just retreat. His army is broken. By March 26th, German forces are within 10 miles of Amiens, a critical railway junction. If Amiens falls, British and French armies get split. The entire Allied defensive system collapses. Ludendorff can smell victory. But something's going wrong on the German side. Stormtroopers are outrunning their supply lines. They've advanced so fast, 40 miles in 5 days, that artillery can't keep up. Food isn't arriving. Ammunition is running low. Some stormtrooper units are down to 30% strength, exhausted, starving. When they overrun British supply depots, they stop to eat. Discipline breaks down. Soldiers loot British positions, drink captured liquor, rest when they should be advancing. The tactical doctrine that broke British lines is creating its own problem. No central control means no way to coordinate resupply. Stormtroopers kept moving when they should have, but now they're too far forward, too dispersed, too depleted to maintain momentum. On April 5th, the offensive stalls. The Germans took everything they could take with the forces they had. British and French reinforcements, fresh divisions, including newly arrived Americans, stabilized the line. The breakthrough ends 10 miles short of Amiens. Ludendorff launches 4 more offensives over the next 3 months. Second Battle of the Marne in July 1918 is the last major push. Everyone uses stormtrooper tactics. Everyone achieves initial success. Everyone runs out of steam before delivering a knockout blow. The Germans captured 225,000 Allied prisoners between March and July 1918. They advanced further in 4 months than in the previous 3 years combined. They came closer to winning the war than at any point since 1914. But close doesn't win wars, and stormtrooper tactics, revolutionary as they were, couldn't overcome Germany's fundamental problem. They were running out of men, supplies, and time. By August 1918, Germany is finished. The spring offensive burned through their last reserves, nearly 1 million casualties in 5 months. American troops are arriving at 250,000 per month. The Allies counterattack on August 8th. Ludendorff calls it the Black Day of the German Army, and Germany never recovers. On November 11th, they sign the armistice. The war is over, but stormtrooper tactics survive. Every army on the Western Front studies what the Germans did. The British, French, and Americans all experienced the nightmare of March 1918, watching their defensive systems collapse, losing entire divisions, retreating for the first time in years. They all ask the same question: how do we do that to the enemy instead of having it done to us? The answers reshape modern warfare. The British develop battle drills, small unit tactics emphasizing speed, initiative, and decentralized command. The French create the chasseurs alpins and other specialized light infantry units trained in infiltration. The Americans build the entire Marine Corps doctrine around small unit leadership and adaptability. All of them trace back to lessons learned from German stormtroopers, but the most direct heir to stormtrooper doctrine is the German military itself, specifically the Wehrmacht in World War II. Blitzkrieg, lightning war, is stormtrooper tactics scaled up and mechanized. Fast-moving units bypass resistance, penetrate deep into enemy territory, create chaos, destroy command and control, force enemy collapse from within. Replace stormtroopers with panzer divisions, and you've got the invasion of France in 1940, 6 weeks. The French had more tanks, more soldiers, more artillery. Didn't matter. German tactical doctrine, small unit initiative, decentralized command, exploitation over consolidation, shattered French defenses exactly like it shattered British defenses in 1918. The principle extends beyond conventional warfare. Modern Special Operations Forces, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, British SAS, Israeli Sayeret Matkal, all operate on stormtrooper concepts, small teams, mission-type orders, squad leaders empowered to make tactical decisions without checking in with higher command. The 2011 raid that killed Osama bin Laden? 23 SEALs operating with mission objectives but tactical autonomy. That's Willy Rohr's doctrine, 93 years later. The real revolution wasn't tactical. It was philosophical. The German military figured out something that armies had resisted for centuries. You can't control a battlefield from a headquarters miles behind the front. Wars are won by soldiers making split-second decisions in the chaos of combat, not by generals pushing pins on maps. The side that empowers its soldiers to think wins. The side that demands they obey loses. Modern military doctrine calls this mission command. You give subordinates the objective and let them figure out how to accomplish it. The U.S. Army didn't officially adopt mission command as doctrine until the 1980s, 60 years after German stormtroopers proved it works. Even today, it's hard for commanders to let go. Every instinct says, maintain control, supervise everything, approve every decision. But battlefields move too fast. Radio communications fail. Situations change. The commander who demands obedience gets soldiers who freeze when the plan falls apart. The commander who trusts their soldiers to adapt gets soldiers who win. March 21, 1918 almost changed history. If German stormtroopers had captured Amiens, if they'd split British and French armies, if they'd forced Britain to negotiate peace before American strength arrived, we'd be talking about the German victory in World War I. They came within 10 miles. They failed because revolutionary tactics can't overcome strategic exhaustion. Germany was outmanned, outproduced, and out of time. Stormtroopers bought them 5 months, not enough. But the tactics lived on. Today, every army in the world trains soldiers to think, not just obey. Every tactical manual emphasizes initiative over rigid adherence to plans. Every special operations unit operates on principles developed by Captain Willy Rohr in 1915. The lesson of March 1918 isn't that Germany nearly won. It's that the side willing to trust its soldiers will always outmaneuver the side that doesn't. 4 years of trench warfare stalemate ended the moment German commanders stopped giving detailed orders and started giving their men permission to think. That changed warfare forever.